Extreme Collectibles here, coming at you with another first. Last week I launched my first unboxing and review. I have another one recorded. This is my first assembly and review. I didn't unbox this on camera. Obviously I did unbox it for a few reasons. Number one, I just didn't want to, actually. So there's only one reason I didn't. This looks like it's crooked. But that's what she said. She did not say that, but yes. So bear with me. We are going to assemble XM Dark Phoenix and then review it. Extreme Collectibles here with our first ever assembly and review. This is of XM Dark Phoenix, and my mic's over here, so there's probably going to be an echoey sound until we do the review. I took everything out of the box. If you really wanted to see that, God bless you. I don't understand the world's obsession with unboxing videos. I always fast forward through them. But here's some photos just in case you missed it. Comes in two layers. This is the top layer. They always put the secondary pieces on the top layer, which I can never figure out. And then of course the bottom layer with the base, you can see right here. And XM Dark Phoenix comes with 15 pieces. Some of those are going to be switch outs, so there is a big fat instruction booklet like XM always does, but we're not going to look at that because instructions are for pussies. So with that, let's get started. Here's some unwrapping. We have the base. Not sold on it yet. And just, this is 268, not that it matters. And let's guess here. I'm going to guess that Miss Phoenix's body is the next part to be put in. Usually when I unbox something, I look at it pretty carefully for flaws, marks, things like that. Alright, so if I was her foot must brace on the back of that. Or alright, snug fit, that's always good. Next, let's try and put the bird together. There is the bird. And where is the key for that? You know, anyone watching this video that's already put this together, you're probably smarter than I am. I can't even find it. It's nervous that I'm on camera right now. I don't know why. I cannot find out where this bitch goes, so I'm assuming it must go on some other pieces that key in first. These are the wings. Those will be after the fact. Here's another wing. There's a big old piece right here. I'm betting this is it. Well, this definitely goes into the base. Over here, and it probably flows in. And that's with the bottom. What do you do to entertain yourself as I unwrap each of these? I know a lot of people, when they do assembly videos, they fast forward. I could sing for you, dance for you, or you could just sit there and admire my baggy ass clothes, which I actually have a medical reason why they're so baggy. Keys right in. Still got to find out where the bird goes. So that goes on the bottom. And the bird looks like it goes right up here. There it is. Snug fit. And I think we're going to put on her arms before we do the wings. Just makes more sense. A couple pieces of fire here that attach to Jean Grey. Sorry, Dark Phoenix. Is she still considered Jean Grey? Let me know in the comments what you think. And we have her left arm. Is that a, nope, just a reflection. Thought it was a paint issue. So this is going to tie into her probably right down there. Easy enough. Next time I do this, I'll probably do this again. I'll do close-ups of where everything's going into, but now I'd have to do it backwards and add it later. I still may. This one I don't even see where it inserts at. That's what she said. So we'll hold on to that, and we will do the wings. So far, I'm not as blown away as I hoped I would be. Statue is not as heavy as I thought it'd be. The box was giant, and I picked it up, and I was really surprised how light it was. Especially, I haven't been able to lift stuff lately. It was pretty easy. Strong magnets there. A little bit of a seam line, but not too bad. And this guy, I will probably have to look at a picture to figure out, oh, there it is right there, up on her knee. So right, maybe before her belt here. Everything secures pretty well, so that's comforting to know. Yep, do that first. And last we have the portraits. So I usually like to review it with my favorite portrait, which is already pre-decided, which is the pissed off one with her hair. And looking at them live, it's absolutely my favorite one, kind of a make or break for me. And her head is on the wrong way. Gotta be really careful there. There it is. So that is my first assembly video. I hope I did alright. Like I said, I didn't get to show you guys really where the keys and magnets and all that goes in, but if you really wanted to see that and that's what gets your rocks off, go ahead and send me a message and I will do it for my next one. But let me clean up a little bit, both the table, the wrapping, and myself, and look better for you guys, and we will review XM Studios Dark Phoenix. Don't go anywhere. I won't know if you do, so if you want to, go ahead. Extreme Collectibles back with XM Dark Phoenix. So this is from XM Studios. XM Studios is one of my favorite statue manufacturing companies. A lot of their pieces just blow me away, so I have really high expectations. We're going to talk about where she falls in a second. XM Studios, one thing I never show is they always have a very cool art print, which for me is kind of useless because I don't use these. I remember when I first got into collecting and I had my very first art print. I can't remember which one it was. I gave it to my son to use thumbtacks to put on his wall. Didn't realize, hey, you may resell these one day, so you want some value. You don't want to damage it. But XM Dark Phoenix, purchased her as part of my giant X-Men wall that most of you watching know about. She's not fighting a Sentinel, obviously, but there's not a lot of choices out there for Jean Grey and or Dark Phoenix. And to me, even though I know Jean Grey could level me, I don't think she's very powerful. Her powers just don't entertain me, even though I would love to have telepathy and telekinesis. But XM Dark Phoenix is one of the most powerful mutants out there, and I think this statue did a good job really showing her power, so I decided to pull the trigger. And I got the second batch, so there's probably a lot of reviews out there already. I haven't watched any, but everyone's raving about how impressive she is, and we're going to find that out. XM Studios made 1,000 of them, actually 999, and they price, I think the original, so XM Studios is based out of Singapore, and they price everything initially in SGD, Singapore dollars, which is probably about 76 cents on the dollar to a US dollar. and her price, I want to say, was either $8.99 or $10.99. That's typically where the quarter scale XM Studio pieces fall in. And then the worst part about XM is shipping to the States is usually anywhere from $150 to, I've paid $900 for my XM Hulkbuster, but this was $350 shipping. So I got this in the second batch, and I've been dying to get it, and I have it. I have it now. So kind of exciting. Dark Phoenix, if you don't know about her, there's a movie that just came out that I haven't seen yet. I'm sure I'll like it. I like a lot of the X-Men movies, even though there's a lot of hate towards them. But she's a massively powerful mutant. Essentially, she has telekinesis times 50, and she obviously fire is a part of her play because a phoenix is a bird that rises from the ashes. Sometimes it's made out of fire, that whole get-go. Dimensions on her. Nice thing is she's not a big footprint as far as her base. It's only about 10 inches wide, probably about the same depth. Height with the bird, which you do not have to display with the bird, goes all the way up to just under 30 inches. With just the Jean Grey herself, 21 and a half or so with the tip of her hair, give or take. So it definitely fits in a lot of different cabinets that you can do. She'll be on top of some Maji cases for me because I think they max out right at 24. I guess I could display her without. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. But let's jump right into the concept of her. There's not really a lot of other background info because you saw me put her together. But this is a great representation of Dark Phoenix. So showing her power, it's still a museum, a static pose, but she's sitting on a base that either she created or she transformed of almost molten lava and flames and fire coming from it. And she's in the full Dark Phoenix, red and gold outfit, swaying. There, you can tell there's some wind going on, whether she's generating it or something else is generating it with her hair and her belt flowing. And she's ready to kick some ass or kill someone. And then the Phoenix rising up behind her. I know some people won't display it because they don't have the room, but to me, that's what makes this piece and makes this piece phenomenal. I do know there's a few custom pieces coming out that have a bird with them. So I think the size of this bird is perfect. It doesn't overwhelm the display. It doesn't overwhelm the characters. So perfect job. Do worry design-wise about some leaning because essentially the wing is attached to the bird, which is attached to the fire, which came pre-assembled, which is attached to the base. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points of connection to hold those two wings on. As I said, though, they are very light. So design-wise, it looks fantastic. I love what they did with the fire coming up. If you have XM Ghost Rider, which I do, a lot of similar elements. So I'm sure they kind of used some of the ideas from that, and not only that, but probably some of the lessons they learned for any issues that came along. So very cool concept, and again, she's ready to burn the shit out of anybody and everybody because that's who she is. Very cool design. I think they did a great job. I traditionally, as I said, tiny little paint chip there, but I'm surprised there's not any other broken pieces on this. There are so many tiny pieces, as you see, and you'll see when we do the close-ups, of fire and hair, and wow, there's so many tiny pieces. XM Storm, which I have the review, I just haven't aired it yet. Her hair came broken, but this is impressive how they pulled that off. So let's talk about the sculpt and the paint of the statue. Right now, with such a, and part of it's because of the hype, because it's brand new, but with such a high ES, I'm surprised how much money they're going for. I've seen it, I think, as cheap as $1,800 shipped, so which retails probably around $1,200 shipped. But everyone wants this piece right now, and that's justifying higher prices. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I don't know if it's worth that. XM Ghost Rider, I just talked about that. I think it's a much better piece. I think this is a cool piece. I think the concept and design, the sculpt on a lot of this, especially the Jean herself, and some of the paint is kind of leaving me disappointed. And I do want to preface that with XM Studios, my bar is high. It's extremely high. It's probably the highest. And So when we're going to talk about some of these things and dive in deep, I am nitpicking, so keep that in mind. But let's start at the base. So as I said, it's kind of this molten lava base, which whether she created or she transformed or it was already there. And you have two different aspects to go to this. One is you have the rocks that have some of the orange paint. So first of all, I think the charcoal paint on the rocks and the sculpt on the rocks is good. It's not amazing. They could have used a few darker shades or lighter shades of black or gray or charcoal to give it some differentiation. It definitely doesn't look real. It looks more painted, and especially the little flecks of orange and red that they put in there, not an awesome representation. And I would say the same with kind of the lava that's flowing in between. It looks dull, which lava is dull, but the paint job on this, to me, maybe it's the sculpt that's missing, but the black and orange and yellow and red in there, it just looks okay. It's not your typical XM, wow, I'm gonna stare at this for hours. Flames, I really do like the flames. One of the things I like, and this is more conceptual, that they added some of those rocks within the flames, so almost like she's making the ground raise. They did a great job on the coloring of the flames, again, very similar to XM Ghost Rider, different shades of red, orange, and yellow throughout. Really give it that flow. And I'm going to continue to follow the review here. We're going to talk about the bird itself. I think, again, not only is it the star of the show conceptually, but I think sculpt it is as well. One really, really cool thing I'm trying to figure out, I'm not trying to figure out, I know how they did it, but they were able to make the bird look like it's on fire yet still show feathers. That's the simplistic way to say it. But moving along, again, a lot of the same color variation that you've seen in the flames, and I almost wonder how different this is from piece to piece, because most of these are hand painted and it'd be hard to follow this pattern over and over again. But really cool job. You actually see the different layers of the feathers on the back of the wings, and again there's that fire that's mixed in there, and there's some darker parts on the tips. Almost look like it's singed, but you can differentiate that it is feathers. As you see here, as I talked about earlier, a little bit of seam line where the wings connect, but nothing you can't live with. And the tail, again, looks like it's feathers mixed with fire. Feathers on the outside. And then I do like the head. Not only the fact that they continue to make it all orange and yellow, because it really flows with the statue, but keeping the eyes and the black around the eyes. And then the feathers heading to the back of the head, again, almost like it's flying backwards. I love the bird on this. I will never display it without the bird. And then just for continuity, let's look at Jean Grey's portraits here. This first one is this fiery portrait. I think they did a good job on her hair. I'm pretty impressed with that. I like her natural hair before it's on fire, so not the flames, but I like how the reds and it's really dark brown, it could be black, are mixed in there, and it's flowing, and there's so, tons and layers of it, and you can see the different strands. Really good job on her hair. And I love the fact they added the fire. Again, more conceptual. Then moving on to her face, I'm not a fan of this. I think there was some opportunity missed, not only in the sculpt of the portrait. There's no definition really. They could have added some more anger to her, especially since this is supposed to be her angry portrait. Her eyes are whited out, which suits. The eyebrows, they are barely sculpted on there, but they could have given them a little more definition. Her nose is a weird looking nose, and I understand human beings, maybe it's the bridge of her nose. Her teeth, there's not a lot of definition between, and it almost looks like there's a bad paint job on the bottom teeth. One area I keep seeing is it looks like it was a QC issue where her ear would be, there's this line that is a completely different shade than the rest of her face. Now within her face there's some great colors. I really like, you can tell there's some feminine, almost like makeup type looks to the paint. Looks really good. And then moving on to here, this is her kind of what I say calm portrait. I like this one a little bit better. Some of the same critiques, they could have given it a little more expression. Her eyebrows, again, very similar. The eyes, I don't like how it looks like she's looking up and to the left. And the eyes look like shiny decals. So I wish they wouldn't have made them so shiny. I think that would have helped quite a bit. And again, the same issue with the bridge of her nose. And her lips look okay. Her hair is very similar, except it's not flowing in the wind. So a lot of the great layer and texturing that they had. Then almost what I call her transformation portrait. So no fire and her mouth is closed. This one, to be honest with you, I do like a lot. You see a little bit more definition around the mouth, kind of the smirk that she's making. The nose, the same issues. Her eyes on this I really like. For some reason her eyes are a little more reflective, which I think without the pupils they should be more reflective. But looking where the hair meets the head on this one, you definitely see some more of those QC issues. Surprising, very surprising for XM. I was looking at the other heads. You ever wonder what I do when I'm showing the pictures, the up-close pictures? Sometimes I'm doing here making lewd gestures at you and you'll never know. Just saying. So let's get back to her. Let's kind of start from the neck down. Looking at her outfits, so first, in the middle of her uniform here, she has kind of that textured darker maroon color in the middle. Looks good. And then the golden phoenix right in the middle. I like how it's a dull gold color, so it's not too flashy. I think it flows with the red color they used on her costume. And that same color is right here on her arms. And there's some cool folds in the gloves, both, you know, where her elbows are and then where her gloves, or her hands are. Good sculpt on her hands, very feminine, skinny long fingers. Back to her torso though, great job on the anatomy here. Just like every comic book female, she has huge tits. But some cool design on the lower part of the torso here. Almost looks like zippers or stitching moving up. Her belt, again, that same golden color. It looks okay. The little bird phoenix belt clip, I don't know what that's called. I don't like it. I don't like the color they used. It looks kind of corny. It's a little bit of a shame. Her thighs, you can't see much of it, but there is that stitching on the front. See if we can get a shot of her ass here. She has classic comic style ass cheeks. You know, people say sex sells a lot for a statue. I never buy a statue because it's female, or no offense, rocks don't get me off. But whatever floats your boat. Rocks probably wouldn't float a boat, but you know what I mean. So lastly, she has her boots here. Diving into her boots, again, very similar to her gloves. Lots of cool folds in them that they designed in with the stitching all the way up, and it's that same golden yellow color that's not too shiny, not too flashy. I do notice on her boot there's some marks too. I don't know if those were from shipping or if they were from, on her foot here, I don't know if those were from shipping or a QC issue. So that's XM Dark Phoenix. A lot of stuff going on here. Overall, I am disappointed. Overall, it is a good statue. So try and figure that one out. I will keep her. I do have a custom one on order, but that'll come in a while. So I almost didn't order the custom one because I figured there's no way it would match this one. But now I have high hopes. I would play the High Hope song right now by Panic at, I think it's Panic at the Disco. But is it Panic at the Disco, Gage?
I don't know.
You don't know? So that sings that, but they have been I don't get it. I watch thousands of YouTube videos and they use songs and stuff like that and no issues. Someone's flagging every single one I do. It's probably Dick. You know what I'm saying? So let me know now that you've seen this up close, or if you have it, if your opinion differs than mine, or if it's the same. Let me know what you think. Again, XM I think is a fantastic company. They are arguably one of the top two, sometimes the top statue manufacturer out there. And this doesn't make me lose faith in them at all. Still going to keep all the pre-orders I have. Look behind me, half of this cabinet is XM, and some of them are just amazing. So I really appreciate you guys watching. One last thing, and I'm going to say this a few different reviews, but YouTube has all these analytics, and it shows how many people that watch your video that are subscribers and how many are not. And it kind of blew my mind. 55% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribers. So if you could do me a favor and you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you intend to watch more, if you don't. But yeah, hit that subscribe and that bell. I would really appreciate it. And I'll never know if you did it or not, so it can be your own secret way to have pleasure or pain. I guess you wouldn't have pain. I'm really off today, so I apologize for that. But really appreciate you guys watching again, and until next time, take care.